Humanity was all but extinct the first time Zorgax's alien warfleet attacked, until Captain Ethan Reyes of the Earth ship Prometheus found the device that could save them all. Deep in the Andromeda galaxy, Reyes and his crew detected a strange energy reading from a nearby planet. They discovered advanced alien ruins and a powerful alien machine. But when Prometheus tried to activate the machine, it sent a distress signal directly to humanity's worst enemy, the warlike Zorgax. Zorgax's alien fleet surrounded Prometheus within hours. Reyes narrowly escaped, but Zorgax pursued. He wanted that alien device, and would kill all humans to get it, unless Reyes could unlock the machine's secrets first. The survival of humanity depended on it. News of the Prometheus encounter with the alien fleet hit Earth like a shockwave. Leaked communications from the ship went viral in a matter of hours. Conspiracy theories ran rampant as people tried to make sense of the situation. Some claimed it was a hoax, others saw it as proof of the end times. Panic buying emptied store shelves of essential supplies. Protests erupted in major cities, with demands ranging from full disclosure to the immediate resignation of world leaders. An emergency United Nations session was called to address the crisis. General Marcus Graves, known for his strategic brilliance and no-nonsense demeanor, took the floor. The room fell silent as he laid out the facts. "This is an existential threat," Graves said, his voice steady. "We cannot wait for the enemy to come to us. We must strike first and strike hard. It's the only way to ensure our survival." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room, but Dr. Lena Sorensen, a renowned xenobiologist, stood up in opposition. "General, with all due respect, we cannot rush into a war without understanding what we're up against. This is an opportunity for diplomacy, to learn from an advanced civilization. Violence should be our last resort, not our first." The debate raged for hours, with each side presenting compelling arguments. Just as it seemed a decision might be reached, an aide burst into the room, his face pale. "Sir, we have reports of alien scouting parties entering the solar system. They're heading straight for Earth." The room erupted into chaos. Shouts of "We must act now," and "It's too late for diplomacy" filled the air. In the end, a vote was called, and General Graves' plan won by a narrow margin. The world's resources were mobilized to bolster Earth's defenses. Factories worked around the clock to produce weapons and spacecraft. Military recruitment soared as people rallied to defend their planet. Meanwhile, aboard the Prometheus, Captain Reyes and his crew worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the alien device. They discovered it was part of a larger network, a system of machines scattered across the galaxy. Each one seemed to serve a different purpose, but they were all connected somehow. Dr. Samantha Kim, the ship's lead scientist, made a startling realization. This technology, it's far beyond anything we've ever seen. It could revolutionize energy production, space travel, even medicine. But if it falls into the wrong hands... She didn't need to finish the thought. They all knew what was at stake. The race was on to master the device before Zorgax could claim it for himself. But little did they know, the alien warlord had already set his sights on the Prometheus, and he would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. The first sign of the attack was a series of bright flashes in the night sky. Then came the rumbling, like 1,000 thunderstorms rolling in at once. The ground shook as alien ships descended through the atmosphere, their hulls glowing red from the heat of re-entry. Zorgax had launched a massive assault on Earth, and the human defenders were caught completely off guard. The alien forces targeted major cities first, their weapons slicing through buildings like they were made of paper. Skyscrapers toppled, bridges collapsed, and entire city blocks were reduced to rubble in a matter of minutes. The screams of the dying and the injured filled the air, mixing with the constant barrage of alien weaponry. Emergency services were quickly overwhelmed, unable to keep up with the sheer scale of the destruction. General Graves, stationed at a military command center, watched the carnage unfold on a bank of monitors. His face was grim, his jaw clenched tight. He barked orders into a headset, trying to coordinate a counterattack, but it was clear that Earth's forces were outmatched. The alien ships seemed to anticipate every move the human military made. Their superior technology and sheer numbers made it almost impossible to land a significant blow. Graves slammed his fist on the table in frustration. "Get me Captain Reyes now," he shouted. Aboard the Prometheus, Reyes was already in the midst of the fray. The ship dodged and weaved through the enemy fleet, its weapons firing non-stop. But for every alien ship they managed to take down, a dozen more seemed to take its place. "Captain, we're being hailed by General Graves," Samantha said, her voice tense. Reyes nodded. "Put him through." The general's face appeared on the main view screen, his image flickering and distorted by the chaos of the battle. "Captain Reyes, you need to use the device," Graves said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "It's our only chance." Reyes hesitated. The alien device they'd discovered was still largely a mystery. They'd managed to activate it and harness some of its power, but its full potential was untested. There was no telling what might happen if they pushed it too far. "Sir, we don't fully understand what this thing is capable of," Reyes said. "If something goes wrong—" "God damn it, Reyes," Graves snapped. "We don't have time for caution. Earth is being torn apart as we speak. Use the device. That's an order." Reyes took a deep breath and looked around at his crew. They were all exhausted, battered but determined. They'd sworn to protect Earth no matter the cost. He turned back to the general and nodded. "Understood, sir. We'll get it done." As the communication cut off, Reyes turned to his crew. "You heard the man. Let's finish this." The Prometheus charged forward, straight into the heart of the enemy fleet. Alien ships swarmed around them, their weapons hammering the human vessel's shields. "Shields at 20%! Samantha shouted over the noise of the battle. "We can't take much more of this." "We don't need to," Reyes said, his hand hovering over the control panel for the alien device. "Brace yourselves." He activated the device, and for a moment, nothing happened. Then a massive energy wave erupted from the Prometheus, expanding outwards in every direction. It passed harmlessly through the human ship, but slammed into the alien fleet like a tidal wave. One by one, the alien ships went dark, their systems overloaded by the energy pulse. They began to drift powerless before plummeting towards the ground below. The crew of the Prometheus watched in awe as the enemy fleet was decimated before their eyes. Cheers erupted on the bridge as the last alien ship crashed into the ocean, sending up a massive plume of water. But the celebration was short-lived. The Prometheus was badly damaged, its hull breached in multiple places, and the alien device, the very thing that had saved them, was now nothing more than a burnt-out husk. As rescue ships began to surround the Prometheus, Reyes and his crew could only watch as the extent of the destruction on Earth became clear. Cities lay in ruins, millions were dead or injured, and the infrastructure of the planet was in shambles. They had won the battle, but at a great cost, and as they looked out at the still-burning wreckage of the alien fleet, they knew that the war was far from over. Zorgax would be back, and next time they might not be so lucky. The smell of smoke and ash still lingered in the air as humanity began to pick up the pieces of their shattered world. The streets were lined with the debris of fallen buildings and the wreckage of alien ships, but amid the destruction there was a sense of determination, a resolve to rebuild and come back stronger. General Graves and Dr. Sorensen found themselves working side by side, their previous differences set aside in the face of a common enemy. They pored over the data collected from the alien device, trying to reverse engineer its technology. "If we can replicate this energy source, it could revolutionize our weapons systems," Graves said, pointing at a holographic schematic. Sorensen nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. "And not just weapons, this could change everything: power generation, propulsion, even medicine. We have to be careful how we use this knowledge." As they worked, teams of soldiers and scientists were being assembled and trained. The best and brightest from every field were recruited, their skills honed to a razor's edge. They knew that the next battle would be critical, that the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. In a distant corner of the galaxy, Zorgax seethed with rage. His defeat at the hands of the humans had been a bitter pill to swallow, but it had also sparked an obsession, a burning desire to uncover the secrets of the alien device. He watched footage of the battle over and over again, his eyes always drawn to one figure, Captain Reyes. The human had used the device to devastating effect, and Zorgax knew that he held the key to unlocking its true potential. "I want him alive," Zorgax growled to his subordinates. "Do whatever it takes, but bring me Reyes." The alien warlord dispatched his most skilled infiltrators to Earth, tasked with capturing the captain and his crew. They moved in the shadows, using advanced cloaking technology to evade detection. But Reyes and his team were always one step ahead. They seemed to anticipate every move, every trap laid by the alien operatives. It was as if they had a sixth sense, an uncanny ability to stay out of harm's way. As the covert war raged on, both sides began to suspect that there was more to the conflict than met the eye. Whispers began to circulate of a third party, a mysterious figure pulling the strings from the shadows. "Something doesn't add up," Sorensen said, her voice low. "The way the aliens are targeting Reyes specifically, it's almost like they know something we don't." Graves nodded, his eyes narrowed. "And the way our defense systems were breached so easily in the first attack, it's like someone was feeding them information." The more they dug, the more they realized that the war was not just a battle between two species, but a complex web of alliances and agendas. And at the center of it all, the alien device remained a tantalizing prize, a potential game-changer for whoever could control it. As humanity continued to rebuild and rearm, they knew that the true nature of the conflict was still unfolding, and with each passing day the stakes grew higher, the choices more difficult. Captain Reyes stood on the bridge of the newly repaired Prometheus, his gaze fixed on the stars outside. He knew that the war was far from over, that the hardest battles were yet to come, but he also knew that he had a duty, a responsibility to see this through to the end. "Set a course for the front lines," he said, his voice steady. "We have a war to win." The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them towards an uncertain future, towards a destiny that would shape the fate of the galaxy itself. The Prometheus glided through the void of space, its hull still bearing the scars of the previous battle. Captain Reyes stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the holographic display before him. The alien research facility loomed large, its sleek lines and angular architecture, a stark contrast to the utilitarian design of human structures. "All right, listen up," Reyes said, his voice cutting through the tense silence. "We've got one shot at this. We get in, we get the data, and we get out. No heroics, no unnecessary risks. Understood." A chorus of affirmatives echoed through the bridge. Commander Chen, Reyes's right-hand man and closest friend, clapped him on the shoulder. "We've got your back, Captain. Let's do this." The infiltration began smoothly. Under the cover of a cloaking device, the Prometheus slipped past the facility's defenses and docked at a secluded airlock. Reyes led the way, his weapon at the ready. They moved quickly and quietly through the sterile corridors, bypassing security systems and neutralizing the occasional guard. The facility was almost eerie in its emptiness, as if the aliens had abandoned it in a hurry. "I don't like this," Chen muttered, his eyes darting from shadow to shadow. "It's too quiet." Reyes nodded, his instincts on high alert. They pressed on deeper into the heart of the facility. And then they found it, the central data core, a towering monolith of alien technology. Dr. Kim, the ship's lead scientist, stepped forward, her fingers flying over the control panel. "I'm in," she said, her voice tight with concentration. "Downloading the data now." The minutes ticked by, each one an eternity. Reyes kept watch, his finger hovering over the trigger of his weapon, and then all hell broke loose. Alarms blared, the sound deafening in the confined space. Zorgax's forces poured into the room, their weapons blazing. Reyes and his team fought back, taking cover behind consoles and returning fire. "We've got to get out of here," Reyes shouted over the chaos. They made a break for it, sprinting down the corridors as the aliens gave chase. Blaster bolts sizzled past their heads, scorching the walls. They were almost to the airlock when Chen stumbled, a bolt catching him in the leg. Reyes skidded to a halt, torn between his duty and his friend. Chen looked up at him, his face twisted in pain. "Go," he said through gritted teeth. "Get the data back to Earth. I'll hold them off." It was the hardest decision Reyes had ever made. But he knew Chen was right. The information they had obtained was too important. With a final nod to his friend, Reyes turned and ran, the sounds of Chen's last stand echoing behind him. The Prometheus blasted away from the facility, its engines straining as it outran the alien pursuers. In the ship's medical bay, Dr. Kim worked to decipher the stolen data, her face illuminated by the glow of the screens. Back on Earth, General Graves and Dr. Sorensen waited anxiously for news. When the transmission from the Prometheus finally came through, they crowded around the console, their eyes widening as they saw the magnitude of what Reyes and his team had uncovered. The alien device was a key, a gateway to a network of portals that spanned the galaxy, and the Overseers, the mysterious third party, had been using these portals for centuries to manipulate and control younger civilizations. "My God," Sorensen breathed. "All this time we thought we were fighting for our survival, but we were just pawns in their game." Graves's jaw clenched, his eyes hard. "Not anymore," he said. "We know the truth now, and we're going to use it to take the fight to them." He turned to the room, his voice ringing with determination. "This is no longer just a war for Earth's future. This is a war for the future of every species the Overseers have ever manipulated. And we're going to win it, no matter the cost." As the room erupted in cheers, Reyes sat alone on the bridge of the Prometheus, his thoughts with Chen and the sacrifices that had been made. He knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, that more friends would be lost before the end. But he also knew that they had taken the first step towards reclaiming their destiny, and with the knowledge they now possessed, they would not rest until the Overseers were defeated and the galaxy was free from their influence. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support me, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And for every comment that says, "I liked the story," I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.